guys, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead, and today I'm canning coleslaw. And what that starts with, what you need is onions, carrots, and cabbage, okay? So first things first, I'm gonna cut my cabbages. I forgot to cut around the core. The core is a bit of a problem, can be a bit of a problem. Okay, I'm gonna quarter my cabbages. Now I've already started with a small cabbage, but I forgot to put the camera on, so I'm redoing this for you guys. Okay. Gracie, get out of stuff. There's nothing in there for you. Now if you quarter these, you can see the heart in there, right? So you just cut that out. Cut it out! This one doesn't have any. Okay, now, I haven't washed these cabbages. Why? I haven't washed these cabbages because they're going to get salted, soaked, and washed. So I don't have to worry about washing them right off the bat. And the best time to wash them is when it's shredded or when they're taken apart so that you can get in between the leaves. Now, I'm just going to shred this with a knife. Now you can use a mandolin if you have one. I've almost taken the tips off my fingers with enthusiasm more than once. So I just prefer to shred it by hand, okay? And it's going in here, and each layer we salt. We salt with about a tablespoon of coarse pickling salt or coarse kosher salt. I paid $5 for 10 pounds of cabbage. I've got cabbage rolls in the crock pot. This is going into coleslaw, and I still have 2 cabbages, one for dehydrating and one for cottage roll dinner. Okay, so this, I'm gonna get another bowl for the carrots and the onions. Well, I'll tell you something, this isn't a table. My table used to be here. This is an island that Howie built for me one year for Christmas. And then, a few years later, he clad it in stainless steel for me. So, this is, you know, I wanted stainless because it's just the easiest thing to keep clean, especially if I'm I'm making something for my son Arthur, who is really badly gluten intolerant. This is easy to work with because you can deep clean it very, very easily. What is the name of the chopper Bev is using? Starfrit. I have no idea what else. They sell them at Temu, but I wouldn't buy anything from Temu. I've only had 2 things that worked out really well at Temu. One is a fan combination light that hangs up over my bed in the motorhome. Now, I believe that I am on a very thin there we go, yeah. You can put this on in slices, but for the, you know, but for this, oh, my shoulders, I'm going to feel this tomorrow. All right, so here is our onion and our carrot, and we've salted it. And if you can see that the moisture is already coming out of the cabbage with the salt. Can you see the moisture on there? So these are going to get covered, and we're going to allow them to sit for 2 to 3 hours, and then we're going to make up our brine, and we're going to can our coleslaw. Now, I don't know if I'm going to need them all, but here I have 8 pint jars washed and in my canner with water and a splash of vinegar. And there's also a rack in the bottom. Never put jars directly in the bottom of a pot. You always have to have something under the jars. If you don't have a rack, put a folded tea towel. Anything to keep the glass off the bottom of the pot. Before we can rinse and prep our vegetables that have been in the salt, we're going to make our syrup. Here is 2 cups of organic apple cider vinegar, 4 cups of organic sugar, 1 cup of filtered water if you want. Mine's well water. 1 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of celery seed. I haven't even opened this yet. Whoa! And 1 heaping teaspoon of mustard seed. And so now we're just going to turn this on and cook it until the sugar dissolves. I'm going to shut my jars off, and I'm all set up here with my cabbage and my carrot and onion. Now, they want you to let this cool down once the sugar is dissolved, but I want it to be not boiling hot, but I want the syrup to be warm. Why? Because the jars are going to be hot, and I don't want to put cold anything into hot boiled jars, or they could break, right? This funnel is clean, but it has been stained with turmeric from the bread and butter pickles. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to stir this up, and I'm going to put some in the bottom of the bottle. Why am I going to do that? That is so the jar gets heated up. I'm going to add cabbage, and I'm going to add carrot and onion, and I'm going to add more cabbage. I'm going to push this all the way down in, nice and fairly tightly packed, but not like a brick or anything. Now I'm just eyeballing this, guys. I am just eyeballing this. And now I'm going to take some more hot syrup and trickle it down over top. Putting it in some syrup in the jar first does 2 things. It helps to debubble the first part, right? It helps making sure that it's all the way down in the jar. Now we're just going to debubble. Push that all down in there, and we're going to take this to about 1/2 inch from the top of the jar. I'm actually going to pour some of this syrup back in. Always, always wipe your rims and threads with a clean, damp paper towel. On goes a clean lid. And into the canner, well, yeah, into the canner this goes. The canner is turned off, and out comes another jar from the canner. It's all down in there. A little bit more. Make sure it's pushed down in. A little bit more syrup until it covers it. I may have to make more syrup, but that's okay. Push this down. Make sure you debubble. Half an inch from the top. Pour off some of the syrup if you have to. And always, always wipe your rims and threads with a clean damp paper towel. On goes a washed and rinsed clean lid. And a ring. And into the canner that goes. We'll be back when I have put as many jars in the canner as I can fit. Here's what I have left. So I'm making up another half a batch. I'm going to tell you folks, if you use 2 small cabbages and a pound of carrots and 2 onions, you really want to make 6 cups of sugar, 3 cups of vinegar, and 3 teaspoons each of the mustard seed and celery seed. Now, not 3 teaspoons, a teaspoon and a half each, or a heaping teaspoon each. So I'm going to make up some more syrup and let it do its business. In here, I have 8 pints on a rack. I've put vinegar in there. I'm going to put this on. They're turned on high, and as soon as this comes up to a boil, I will process for 10 minutes for pints, 15 minutes for quarts, but then you shut it off and you kind of let it cool down a little bit. Don't let it cool down to comfortable, but you let it cool down a little bit so it's not boiling. I'm going to pick beans. And there it is. 2 heads of cabbage, a pound of carrots and 2 onions, and brine, and we got 12 pints of pickled coleslaw. Yeah, I just got out of the shower. This is Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead saying, when you find a deal, find out how many ways you can preserve it and put it in the pantry. Take care, God bless.